the economy soaring thanks to spending? Well, don't laugh. A 5.7% surge in gross domestic product in the final 3 months of last year has the White House and leading Democrats pushing even more spending this year to keep those numbers coming. Are they right? To Jonathan Hoenig, who says, of course they're right. We need more government. We've also got Gary B. Smith, Mike Norman, and Kristin Bentz. Kristin, what do you think of that?
You know, I would halt the fist pumping for the moment. You strip out inventories, it's about 2.2, not a lot to get excited about. Look, I'm all for growth, but, you know, let's halt the champagne corks for the moment.
Well, Mike, do you agree?
No, I don't agree. I mean, look, it's a little bit.
I love a good brawl.
It's a little harsh. I mean, we're already dealing with 10% unemployment, maybe a 17% unemployment rate. What does that translate into? 15 million people out of work. Economic growth is what ultimately puts people back in
what are
jobs.
you saying?
I'm saying we need more of it. We need a bigger amount, and we need to do it
more
as needed. As needed. As needed.
Okay, Jonathan Hoenig.
Well, I mean, Neil, Japan has had something like 12 stimulus programs in the last 15 years. Hasn't done much for their economy. And of course, I'm not a naysayer. I'm not a hater. I'm happy to see the 5.5% number. But the truth is that it's basically been put on a credit card. I mean, it is a good number. The GDP number is a good number relative to 2009's drop. But now we've got this historical debt. And I don't think it changes the Obama administration's approach one bit. We're going to have big government one way or the other because the president has a contempt for free markets, a contempt for private enterprise.
Well, you know, Jonathan raised an interesting point, Gary B., about perception and where you come. I remember when Fox News Channel, not Fox Business, Fox News Channel started, and I'd come over from CNBC. So Fox News Channel, the first time we had ratings available to us, like 4 people were watching. 4 people. They were all my family. So the next ratings period comes out, and it turns out, this is for just my show, by the way, it was up to 8 people. So naturally, we started bragging. We doubled our ratings. We're up 100%. And we did. But it was off an awful, awful period. So, Gary B., is there something to the notion that, yeah, you could be up a great deal, but it's a very bad period?
Well, yeah, absolutely, Neil. And look, if I was the Obama administration, this is exactly the tune I would be singing. I would say, look how great everything's working. But there's a couple problems. One, let me give you an example. The Cash for Clunkers program, which most everyone agrees was a complete bust.
Totally.
You know, we didn't create any jobs, or any jobs created were short-lived. Well, all we did was move up the car purchases from, a month
Mike Norman
down the line.
doesn't agree because that.
Come on, hold on a second. But you know what? All that spending went into the GDP, so it looked like the GDP was great. And as for Mike's point, I'd like him to know where he thinks all the money is coming from.
Come on.
For this money. All we're doing is robbing Peter to pay Paul.
I have to teach you about the monetary system because we're not on a gold standard. We went off of that in 1971.
Guys,
The government can spend any amount of money that it wants. What are you talking about? I mean,
I would spend that money elsewhere.
You like
the Cash for Clunkers equated to.
Did you get your Maybach on the?
I bought a gas guzzling clunker, but it equated to income for the auto manufacturers and wages to workers.
Seriously, are you kidding me? Cash for Clunkers? If that's what you got for me, I'm with Gary B.
Well, but it did goose the numbers, right?
Yeah, but goosing the numbers, if the numbers suck.
Hey,
what?
Come on, that's a technical term.
And Neil, that's what I find truly fearful is the president's willingness, as much as he says he hates intervention, to even this week we heard reuse the TARP money, right? Well, the big banks paid it back. Well, now we got a bright idea. Let's give it to the small banks. I mean, if the crisis is over, if the economy is growing, why not end all these government interventions and actually let the free market work?
Bring out your debt.
Well, because you could argue then if the numbers support you or the numbers are good, every good number is going to support the argument for more spending.
By the way, the numbers are not even that big. If you look at government spending as a percent of GDP, it's the same as it was in 2002 and 2003, about 19.8% of GDP. And back in 2000, it was like 18.8. So we're up 1%.
If you want to talk GDP,
let's talk about the consumer.
The consumer is 70% of GDP, and consumer spending dropped. And that's what gets my attention. That's what I do.
In the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. That's
So that, you know?
Answer that, Mr. Schmitty Bentz.
Consumer spending did not drop. Consumer spending was not up a lot. And what the government spends to a lot of people.
Capitalist pig, help me out, brother.
What the government spends to a lot of people, it
need you, man.
income to them, okay?
Well,
That's
Mike,
part
why
of
do
what
we
they
even need the
spend
private
is
sector if
income to
the
people.
government can do it all?
What?
Look, why do we even need the private sector?
Look, the private sector is still producing this stuff, Gary.
You got him mad, Gary.
But
The private sector still built the cars. They're still producing this stuff. The government happens
And the
to be
cars are recalled,
Hey,
honey.
What does that have to do with anything?
It's got a
We're
lot
going
to
to take
do
a
with
break.
it.
We want, cooler heads will prevail. I want us all a group hug here. This is not the way to go on a
Hug it out. Hug it
Hug it
out.
out. Hug it out. All right, lousy day to cap a lousy month. In fact, for stocks, it was a pretty horrible month. So why are so many saying not necessarily a horrible year? Stocks finishing further in the red today, despite we had a great start with this strong fourth quarter GDP report officially ending what really was an awful month for the market. Stocks swooning 3.5% in January. So for this trading month, just a bad sign for the rest of the year. Gary B., what do you think?
Well, I actually think it is. I don't think it's, there's no, I'm not talking about any kind of historical or statistical correlation. I think the reason that January is bad, the reason the rest of the year is going to be bad, is Jonathan said it in the first segment. We're starting to see clearer and clearer the true colors of the Obama administration. They hate the private sector. They hate big business. And I'll tell you what, Neil, they
Wait
don't
a
even
minute.
understand
How is that any
economics.
different than last year when the market was up 20%?
Because right now he is making the rant against Wall Street and blaming everything on Wall Street, and next it'll
But
be
he was
big oil.
last year, Gary. He was doing that last year.
But now the rhetoric seems to be at a heightened level, Neil, and I just think the market is reacting badly to it. It sees bad things coming. We're thankful maybe healthcare has been put to bed, but none of this, in no time during the State of the Union did he say, you know what, I'm to blame. It's instead, I'm right, you're wrong, and we're all going to pay for it.
Kristin, what do you think of that?
You know, I don't believe in curses. So with the whole January thing, it's like betting on the NFC is like a Super Bowl stock market indicator with the Giants and the whole market went down.
It didn't work last year, right?
Clearly.
Okay, so having said that, the worries that Gary B has that have nothing to do with curses and all that, oh, maybe they do, something to it or what?
You know, I think everyone should brace. I think Americans should brace and keep on bracing. You know, we have a little growth, but the markets are fragile and the consumer is fragile. So
We're not out of the woods.
no.
And Jonathan, that's been your mantra, right?
Well, I think Christian is actually absolutely right that we are fragile, especially since, Neil, so much of the rise has been due to all that trillions of government distortion, government involvement in the market. I mean, I take January. Mike, you're laughing, I know, but I got to tell you,
it's just silly.
despite the great
It's not
GDP
silly.
number today,
It's not silly. 10% unemployment. It's not silly.
Let Jonathan finish his point and then Mike can answer.
well, I just think you have to take January's correction as a bit of a cautious indicator. Don't make it an all or none. Don't make it either all in stocks or all out of stocks, but certainly have some sort of reserve in the bank just in case times get even worse.
Michael.
This spending he's talking, this is like revisionism greater than anything ever attempted by a communist state. I mean, I'll make it very easy. I'll make it very easy for everybody. It's going to go down. I agree with the
talking
panel.
down to us.
I
Just
agree
there.
with the
I know, I
panel,
got
but
you.
not
I
even
got
for
you.
the same
Put
reason.
us down. You
No.
dismissed us.
When the government spends, it lifts the economy. The stock market goes up. That's why I was a
And the
bull
economy
last
should
year.
be, like,
I'm
super
bearish
lifted.
now. It's going down
But
this year
Kristin
because
just
we're
said something
focusing on
profound that the economy should be
freeze.
super lifted, and it's not.
It's not super
6%
lifted.
growth in the fourth quarter is not. That's the fastest
Seriously?
growth pace we had since 2003.
It's not hard to fall from a
What are you
basement window,
looking at?
Sweet Pea.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at 10% unemployment, and
I'm
it ain't
looking
so
at a
good.
$14.4 trillion economy.
Well, I want your
That's pretty
glasses,
good.
Sweet Pea.
Neil,
Yes,
the wonderful
yes,
thing now,
Jonathan.
Neil, is that for even the average investor, it's not just a question of stocks or no stocks. I mean, one of my strongest holdings has been FXY, which holds the yen, or Cow, which holds cattle and livestock. I mean, don't make it an all or none. I mean, certainly have some cash. Bonds have been soaring. I mean, truly have a diversified portfolio. Don't just be all in or all out the market.
That whole inflation trade that everyone's been into, that's over. With
Are you
PAYGO,
optimistic on the market this year?
No, it's going down. Very easy, folks.
After
If you
all
have-
this, why
We
is
agree.
it going down?
Who knew?
Because spending cuts, PAYGO, fiscal conservatism,
So
deficit
that'll undo it,
reduction.
not
Very
then
easy.
barreling down on this.
This
I'm
business is
confused.
easy. This business is very easy. When they spend, it goes up. When they pull back, either through tax.
Mike, I've known you for decades. Someone has stolen the Mike Norman I knew and brought him back as Patty Hearst. All right, that'll do it. Have a great weekend, everybody.